Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I thought it would be fun to rank the smaller eyeshadow palettes that I've purchased throughout the year of 2023. I've already done this video for the larger palettes and that's already been posted, and I will put it in the card section here. So you can go take a look if you're interested in seeing what were my top picks for this past year. Now I have several smaller palettes. I do like having some options in my collection, to be honest with you, because it just makes doing my eye look for the day that much quicker when I just have a few shadows to choose from. To be honest with you, it just makes my process of getting ready as a stay-at-home mom quicker. So I do enjoy these, and I do find a lot of value in having smaller options. I don't think it's necessary to have this many. I just love makeup and I like to try things and review products and share with you guys the good stuff. So that is why my collection is pretty big. And through testing out products, I have come across some really great palettes, small, large, really big ones, and even singles that are just really amazing. And so that's what this video is going to be, of the smaller size palettes that are more travel friendly. As we're approaching those holiday months where people travel more and they're just easier to store, they don't take a large footprint in your drawers, in your makeup bag, in your vanity, wherever you store your makeup. These are going to fit right in, and I feel like I do have quite a few different options and varieties to choose from, and I think something in here is going to suit everyone. So we're going to just get started with, I would say I'm going to start in the least favorite to my most favorite. So sadly, my least favorite, or the bottom palette for this sort of setup, is actually from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Exagger palette. And it's not that it's my least favorite because it's terrible. I do own quite a few of these quads from Charlotte Tilbury. I have larger palettes of hers, her holiday, her single, Hypnotizing Pop Shots, which I adore. I love this brand. I like these colors. I like the formula. They're easy to work with, but this one here at the bottom is supposed to be a topper. And honestly, when I rub my finger, and I'm really rubbing my finger in here pretty aggressively, and I'm not really picking up much of anything. It's kind of hard panned, so I feel like I need to at some point take a brush and just kind of scrape off the top. So for those reasons, it kind of goes to the bottom of my list, because that is a really pretty little topper type of shade that I really feel like could take a very basic matte cream color and tan brown, kind of warmish color, and really elevate that and bring that to the next level by having a bit of sparkle. And it's a really pretty sparkle, sophisticated, soft. So I would say this is probably a pass if I had to steer you in the direction of quads for Charlotte Tilbury. This one, the Exagger, I probably wouldn't recommend that you buy it, just because that gets kind of hard pan. And this is the one that I was talking about getting hard pan. So for those reasons, I wouldn't even recommend it or honestly tell you to go buy it. The colors are pretty, they're creamy, they're pigmented, easy to work with, except for that one. So when you're looking at this palette and you're thinking of the $54 price point, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, 54 to 56, you don't really want that to be happening, and that's why it's at the bottom of my list. This small one from ABH, which is Anastasia Beverly Hills, this is the Soft Glam palette, the Soft Glam 2, which is a smaller version of the full size. I like this size. I think it's very easy to travel with. It's very easy to store, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. These are all going to be very compact, and I like this sort of range of colors. You have your basic shades here. Hit the camera focus, there it is. Some basic like black tones. You have a very rich, warm, reddish color. You have a dusty kind of mauve. You have a few that are shimmery, a champagne, a light ivory. That tempura shade, which is the lightest color, is really nice to sort of set your primer and then go in with some of the other eyeshadows. Sultry is really pretty. They're pigmented, and like I said, easy to work with, and I'm not complaining about the formula. The reason why this is towards the bottom of my list is mostly because of this color here called Orange Soda. This seems very yellow, very kind of dandelion kind of color. I don't know why I thought of that flower or marigold type of shade. It's very yellow, and I don't typically go for those types of shades. It's called Orange Soda, and I really wish that it would have been just a tad more on the orange side, and I don't really reach for it that often. And I only use the Noir, which is the black, as a liner type of shade. I don't really use black hardly ever for my eyeshadow colors or my crease, just because that is quite fussy and I don't have a lot of time to sit and blend or fix a mistake And for me, I can see myself making a mistake with black eyeshadow, so I don't tend to use it. I will use the darkest brown that I have or can find, no problems. But black is just kind of, it's a little tricky there. Next is from NARS. This is the summer release for the Laguna collection. This is a quad of shades. And to be honest with you, none of these shades are very special. I do love this palette. I think I can get a lot of use out of it just because I personally really like these sort of bronzy tones. I like having this matte, and they're honestly, I believe they're all just labeled Laguna 1, Laguna 2, 3, and 4, and so on. So again, nothing really special. This one here can be kind of a topper type of shade if you use a big fluffy brush, but if you swirl your finger in there and you use your finger, you do get a little bit more pigment, but it is a little lacking in the pigment department. And I was hoping that it would be a little bit more opaque than what it truly is. And, you know, I have my issue with that, but it's nice to use in the inner corner, brow highlight, top it over maybe one of these other shades. But I do like this, and this to me is more of a summery type of palette. Yes, Laguna is their more famous bronzer. Everybody knows about it, loves it, raves about it. Great formula. These to me just seem kind of summery. I'm nuts about these types of bronze tones, which is that deeper one at the bottom. I like NARS formula. I don't have any complaints. I love the other palette that I have, this a little bit larger that I got last year, the Summer Unrated. Love that palette. It is beautiful. Very warm, very easy to work with. So when I saw that they came out with this, I thought this would be like a perfect travel for summertime kind of palette. And it is right up my alley with the bronzy tones. So I really do enjoy having that palette. But that would be, I would have to give it a little bit lower ranking than some of my other ones, just because there's some other palettes that I honestly feel like are just a bit better. Next in my list of palettes is this mini from Pat McGrath. This is the mini eyeshadow palette in Sublime Smoke. I got this during the Sephora sale in the springtime, so a couple months back, and I actually think this is very small, very cute. I like the packaging. It is really, really pretty. If my camera will focus, there it is. The packaging is just absolutely adorable. And that's one thing you will see from Pat McGrath. Her holiday releases and her limited edition packaging is really pretty and just looks really nice. And I really like this palette. This is the mini Sublime Smoke. So you get 6 different shades and they're really small. So I'm going to warn you, this is quite small and very compact. But again, this is right up my alley with those bronzy tones. And I honestly prefer this little mini 6-pan palette. I call it like little Polly Pocket palette because it's so small. I prefer this over my larger palette from Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership palettes. They are quite expensive, a hefty price point. I bought this one at the beginning of this year. I did not include this in my roundup of larger palettes because I've only used this probably 3 or 4 times. I honestly did not use this as much as I thought or get my money's worth at all. And I actually prefer the formula of this little mini over the big, larger Mothership palette. Specifically this one, this is the Divine Rose. So it could just be mine that is a little bit tricky to work with at times. But this little mini here is definitely not lacking at all in the pigment department. It is creamy and smooth. These sort of creamy metallic type of shades. Do you see the intensity of these colors? And I would just swatch just a few on the back of my hand. Do you see that? I love colors like this. This one here is just incredible. And then you have some really rich browns that are warm. And then you have a really dark, almost black brown, which I can use this with my eyes closed in my crease and feel fine and confident in my skills. But when it comes to black eyeshadow, I'm a little bit timid and a little apprehensive because it is pretty intense using black. But this definitely gives you that intensity of a smoky eye. And then you have this one here that's more like a warm kind of peanut butter type of shade, which is the center one in the top. And I love this. It's compact. It's affordable. And this is a very, very good way to dip your toe into Pat McGrath if you've never tried her formula, because it is more on the expensive side. It is an investment. Her quads are expensive. Her Mothership palettes are expensive. Her holiday releases, even the recent ones, they're around $76, $75, $76. So you do invest a lot when you buy this formula. So if you want to try, but you don't want to spend that much because it is a lot of money, and I wouldn't blame you, definitely try these. There's this one and then one that has a purpley kind of tone. I think that one came out last year and it's still available. I think I've only noticed 2 of these smaller size, this one that I'm showing you and then the purpley one on the Sephora website. I don't know if her website specifically has any more small ones, but I do hope that she comes out with more of these because they are quite small and you may think that that's just ridiculous. But sometimes this is what you need for travel. Sometimes you just want to experiment and explore a brand without breaking the bank. And here it is. It's small, it's compact, but it's not lacking at all in performance, in blendability, and pigment. And I love these colors. The next palette to include in this roundup is the Cool Matte Obsession from Huda Beauty. This one is my favorite in the small sizes. I love her Rose Quartz palette. I got that last year and I absolutely adore it. I think the formula is really great on that, and the variety of finishes and textures is outstanding. This one here is also really great. You have 2 shadows up at the top that are creams, very silky satiny. They go on very easily with your finger or brush and they stay in place. You can use them as bases to some of these eyeshadows or in the crease, and they work very well. So it's an interesting sort of mix of textures with the mattes that are really soft, creamy, and smooth, and then these that are actual cream textures. It's a couple shades of pink. This one here at the bottom seems a little bit more on the warm side compared to everything else. I actually like these. I think purple is one of those complementary tones to brown eyes. But honestly, many people with different eye colors could pull this off. And I like having this for just an easy purple look. I also reach for this when I am very pressed for time because the formula is easy to work with. I don't have any issues with the fallout, with blending, with application. I have another palette of hers that has the same kind of smaller square setup here, like this sort of 9-pan setup. And one of the shades in there is incredibly difficult to work with, and fallout is unbelievable. So I don't really reach for it, and I'm not really happy with the looks that I create with it just because the prettiest shade to me is the most difficult in that palette. But this one seems to be a different formula. I think she may have changed it possibly, but I do enjoy it. So it's more ranking on the top end of my sort of list of palettes because there is something really special about this one. The next palette, before we get into my very top drawer palettes, is this little trio from Glossier. These are the monochromes. This is the almond shade. They're very affordable, easy to find at Sephora, online, or in store. They have 3 shades that are basically the same tone in different finishes. So a matte, more of a kind of satiny metallic, and then one that has more glitter and more sparkle, more pizzazz that you can use with the matte. You can use all of these together or just one shade for a one shadow look. But the whole monochrome thing just makes it easy, makes it a breeze to get ready, to be honest with you, because there is no guesswork. You just have 3 shades. I do feel like the packaging though feels like there's something missing because there's a lot of empty like plastic space where they could have maybe, I don't know, put a cream in the same tone and still been that monotone kind of moment or monochrome moment. But I just feel like there's something lacking in here. It is refillable, so you can take this out and put a new one in, take this out, put a different color story in. The outside is metal. It's compact and easy to store and easy to work with. The formula is great. And these are less than $25. I think it's $22. Don't quote me exactly on prices. The links will take you to the website and you'll see the exact price points. But these are very easy to use. And I often find myself reaching for these when I want something very quick or maybe something just simple for travel, or just I want to put myself together and have a eye look, but I'm going to do a Costco run. Or maybe I'm just going to take the kids to go shop and, you know, just go get out of the house. It's just easy. Those colors, so pretty. And yes, my hands are filthy, full of swatches, but I will just kind of randomly put them on my wrist here. And the one that has the sparkle in it, it's really, really pretty. It's almost got a bit of like a silvery kind of sparkle to it. But when you blend that out, it just looks beautiful. And I think this is a perfect finish for the one shadow look because it has that sort of dimension to it where it looks sparkly on the lids, but then if you blend it up into the crease, there's a bit of shadowing happening. So again, another reason why I adore this palette, and I think that it offers quite a bit for just being 3 eyeshadows. Now the next few palettes are really just, they're right there for me. It's really, really hard. And I think I'm going to start with the brand that really has become one of my very favorites over the last several months. A brand that I know I can count on. The formula is always going to be spectacular, and I'm always going to love everything that I create. Every sort of mix and combination, I always absolutely love, and I have to give it to Natasha Denona. These little 5-pan palettes are just absolutely adorable. They're perfection. They offer a great range of mattes, shimmers, and different textures, with some of them that have, like this one here, the Starlette palette has one that's kind of foiled and almost kind of glittery and metallic looking, which is this one here. This is a perfect fall palette. I absolutely adore this palette, and I love the warmth that's in here, coupled with a bit of a cooler kind of tone here with this matte and a bit of peach here. This is beautiful. This is the Mini Starlette. I also have this one that's the Mini Retro. The Retro MIDI palettes had a lot of tones that I didn't think were going to be me, and I just decided to try this whole sort of green with more peach, pink, and this one here that is just incredible. This one's called Galaxia, and it is just incredible, and it has a bit of a like peachy, pinky champagne base, but it's mostly gonna be, do you see that? With that sparkle, oh, when the light catches it, when the sun hits your eye, it's out of this world. I love it. It's definitely one of my top favorites. This matte olive is beautiful. This shade here, which is, I think it's called Industrial. I'm reading it. It seems like it's backwards, but look at the pigment on that. Like, there is no denying the quality that you're getting. For these small ones, they're not less quality than her MIDI palettes or her larger palettes that are more expensive. This is a brand that is more of an investment. Yes, when it comes to her MIDI palettes, they're $69, and then she has other ones that are much more expensive, but you're getting top tier quality when it comes to this brand. And when it comes to eyeshadows, the textures, the mattes, the creaminess of them, the toppers, the metallics that are kind of like liquid metal, the way they apply, when you do an eye look, they will look exactly the same when you go to take your makeup off 8, 10, 12, 15 hours later, however long it is. They don't lose that intensity. They don't sort of disappear. They don't change. They don't fade. They don't flake. Fallout is pretty minimal to almost non-existent with some of her mattes. And I just adore this palette. This one, like I said, the Starlette, I have a look that I did with this, a fall look, and I wore it for several days in a row because I just could not get enough of this color here called Rhea. It is beautiful. It's coppery and kind of bronzy, but look at that. And I can just swatch my arm. I can just smear this all over my face and just absolutely love it because it's just so mesmerizing, her formula. She does something really, really special. So if you have not tried Natasha Denona, I encourage you to try starting with the 5-pan or maybe going for like a MIDI. I absolutely love the I Need a Nude. It's perfection. I love the Glam. That was my first MIDI palette. The Yucca, if you like the greens and the pukey colors and the yellows and the warm colors, the fall vibes, that's totally right there. That's going to be right up your alley if you like those shades. Don't sleep on these little ones. Do not. Try them if you haven't and thank me later because they're incredible and they're very affordable. Then my last palette, I feel like I've lost count. I don't even know what number we've gotten through, but this is going to be my number 1, and it's the palette that I'm wearing now. And I'm going to preface this by saying that the price point of this is quite ridiculous. I know, and I acknowledge that. And I feel like that day, I don't know what came over me when I ordered it, and I just kind of lost my mind. But this has been my number 1 throughout the entire year so far. It's the Surrat Quad in the tones Beyond Beige. And yes, this may be boring and just like, what? That's nothing special, Lexi, but it is. It truly is. I have several of these colors on. I have the kind of grayish tan in my crease. I have this one that's a little bit more of like a salmon-y color with a bit of sparkle all over my lids. This dark shade called Brun Noir. This is what I have smoked out on my lower lashes with a combination of these other 2 shades. And then this one here, that is the Satin Sumon. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Inner corner brow highlight. This is the palette that I use when I don't have a lot of time. I can literally slap this on and be so messy, so haphazard, just throw it on, and it's going to look beautiful. I never feel like I have to spend a lot of time to fix a mistake. I don't have to spend a lot of time blending. I don't have to spend a lot of guesswork and just, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go straight into this Beige shade here, which is going to be in the crease most likely. This is gonna be liner, outer V, lower lash line, maybe a little bit of this on the lid, or highlight like I did today. And I feel like I have a bit of a smokiness going on with a little bit of warmth, but it looks very soft and it's easy. And it doesn't take a lot of work. It's all right here laid out for you. And it could not be easier. The formula feels like silk, but times that by 10. Like these are just dynamite. And I am just bananas over this formula. And like I said, the color story may not seem that special and different because these tones do exist in other brands. I'm not gonna lie, can't deny that. But the formula is pretty. That is the color I have on my lids. It's kind of like a warm, salmony, tan brown with a golden sparkle, but the sparkle is subtle. It's very sophisticated sparkle. It's not chunky glitter. It's not unflattering. You can use them wet, you can use them dry. This one here at the top has a little bit more of a kind of shimmer to it, but it looks pretty, and I honestly could probably get away with using this as a highlighter on my face. It's really, really pretty. And like I said, the formula is pretty special, and I truly enjoy it. And as you may have noticed, there are some little divots and some dips in these because I use them that often. And like I said, I used this today. Very quick, I'm getting ready while my kids are eating a snack watching TV, and I'm in my living room standing up by the window. I'm just throwing these on. I wore these yesterday and created a much more deeper smoky eye with that dark, almost black shade. It's like a dark brown, and it was beautiful. I've talked about this before, and I don't really mention it often because the price point of this is $98, so I know that's pretty expensive. That's stupid expensive. I get it. And like I said, I feel like I lost my mind that day, but this was truly so special. And I am so happy that it turned out to be that way, because can you imagine if I spent that money and it's garbage? I would have been so upset, you guys. But I am so happy that it truly does check off my boxes of what I need to get ready and feel put together, feel beautiful, feel glamorous without it being difficult and hard to work with. So that is it. That is my roundup of palettes. I know we lost count. I was only gonna do just a few, and I started off with like 5. But then I went through my collection and I saw more palettes. I'm like, wait a minute, I did buy that this year. And I do have thoughts, and I do need to share what I think about these palettes. So I just kind of lost count as we went along, and it is what it is. I'm just being completely honest and transparent with you on my thoughts on these palettes. And I'm ranking them truly in the way that I would if I was sharing this information with my sister, my close friends, or family. You guys are my YouTube family. You guys are my friends, and I want to share with you guys the good stuff and really kind of steer you in the right direction when it comes to buying eyeshadows, because there's so many out there in the market that sometimes you kind of wonder if it's really good or if it's just a bunch of hype or a bunch of marketing. But some of these palettes, like my top choices, are truly really, really great. And yes, I do have a lot of different price points, and my number one pick is a little bit pricey. But if you do end up trying it, I think you're going to enjoy it. If you like the things that I like and look for in eyeshadows, then you will enjoy my options and my recommendations. So I hope that this was helpful. And I have everything listed and linked for you down below in case you want to purchase any of these palettes. And I just want to let you know that the links in the description box are affiliate. So that means that I do earn a commission from the sale. So if you use my links, I do appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. It helps me grow, and I am very, very appreciative of your time. And of course, if you use my links, it means everything to me. So thank you so much. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Take care, you guys, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.